The soft hum of the office printer filled the quiet morning air as 28-year-old Elena Harper stood in the small copy room of Harrington Global, her hand resting lightly on her still flat stomach. The ultrasound photo was tucked safely in her purse, a tiny black and white miracle that had arrived just yesterday, 8 weeks along. A little heartbeat flickering on the screen, like a promise she wasn't sure she could keep alone. Elena had worked as executive assistant to Alexander Harrington for 3 years. She knew how to fade into the background, dark hair tied in a neat bun, simple blouses and skirts bought on sale, shoes polished until they shone but never knew. She had grown up in a quiet town 2 hours outside the city, raised by a single mother who cleaned houses to keep food on the table. Elena had learned early that hard work and silence were the keys to survival in places built for people like Alexander. Alexander Harrington was 35, tall, with sharp features and eyes the color of winter sky. He had taken his father's struggling real estate company and turned it into a billion-dollar empire. Everyone knew about his upcoming wedding to Victoria Langford, daughter of one of the oldest banking families in the country. The society pages called it the merger of the decade. That morning, Elena's phone buzzed while she was scheduling Alexander's day. A text from her closest friend, Sarah. "Have you told your mom about the baby yet?" Elena smiled softly, opened the ultrasound photo, and typed back, "Not yet. I'm scared she'll worry. I can barely afford this little one on my own. The father, he said it was just one night. He walked away." Her thumb hovered over send. In her rush, with Alexander's calendar open on her computer and 3 emails waiting, she tapped the wrong name in her contacts. Alexander Harrington sat right above Sarah Hayes. The message whooshed away. 5 seconds. That was all it took for Elena to realize what she'd done. Her heart stopped as she saw delivered turn to read. Alexander was always on his phone, always. She waited for the summons, for the cold voice over the intercom, for the end of everything. But nothing came. The morning passed in meetings, phone calls, and the quiet rhythm of a life Elena had built carefully, brick by brick. She brought Alexander his coffee, black, no sugar, exactly at 10. He thanked her politely, as always, his voice distant but never unkind. She wondered if he had even seen the message. Maybe he deleted it without a second thought. People like him didn't get involved in the lives of people like her. At noon, the intercom finally buzzed. "Elena, could you come in for a moment?" Her legs felt unsteady as she walked the short distance to his office. The door closed behind her with a soft click. Alexander stood by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out over the city skyline. He didn't turn around. "I received a message this morning, one that I believe was not meant for me." Elena's throat tightened. "Mr. Harrington, I'm so sorry. It was an accident. I meant to send it to my friend. I never—" "Is it true?" He turned then. His expression wasn't angry. It was something else, something careful. She nodded, unable to lie. "Yes, 8 weeks." He studied her for a long moment. "And the father?" He made it clear he wanted no part of it. It was one evening. I don't expect anything from him." Alexander nodded slowly. Then, to her surprise, he gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Sit, please." She sat, hands folded tightly in her lap. He didn't sit. Instead, he pressed a button on his desk phone. "Clara, cancel my afternoon. Everything, including dinner with the Langfords tonight." His assistant's voice came through, startled. "Sir, the wedding is in 2 weeks." "Cancel it." He released the button and looked at Elena again. "You're raising this child alone?" "I'm going to try," she whispered. "I've been saving. I might move back home with my mother. She's not well, her heart, but we'll manage." "No," he said gently. "You won't have to." Elena looked up, confused. "I have a proposal, one that might help us both." She waited, afraid to breathe. "I've spent years building something that looks perfect from the outside," he said. "But the truth is, my engagement to Victoria is an arrangement. No feeling, just business. Her family wants influence, mine wants stability. I've realized I don't want that life." He paused, choosing his words. "When I saw your message, saw that image, read your words about doing the right thing even when it's hard, it reminded me what matters. Family, choice, doing what's right, not what's expected." Elena's heart beat faster. "I'm asking," he said softly, "if you would consider letting me stand as this child's father, legally, fully. I would provide everything, security, care, a home, for you and the baby, and in return, I gain something real, a family I choose, not one negotiated in boardrooms." Elena stared at him. "You want to marry me? Claim my baby?" "Not pretend, make it real. On paper, yes, but built on honesty. You would never want for anything, neither would your mother, and this child would have a father who chooses them every single day." Tears welled in her eyes. "Why would you do this for me?" He looked out the window again, voice low. "Because I'm tired of being alone in a crowded world. Because you've worked beside me for 3 years and never once asked for more than you earned. Because when I saw that tiny heartbeat, I felt something I haven't felt in years. Hope." Elena's hand moved to her stomach. Could this be real? A way out of fear and struggle? A chance for her child to grow up safe, loved, secure? "I need time," she said finally. "You have until tomorrow," he replied gently. "After that, I end the engagement regardless, but whether you and this baby become part of my life, that's your choice." He walked to the door, then paused for what it's worth. "Elena, you're the most genuine person I've ever known. If I'm going to build a real life, I can't imagine anyone better to build it with." Then he was gone. That evening, Elena sat in her small apartment, the ultrasound photo in her hands. Her mother called, worried about money for her medication again. Elena promised she'd send something soon. She hung up and cried, not from despair, but from the weight of a door opening when she'd thought all doors were closed. The next morning, she walked into Alexander's office. "I'm scared," she said simply. "Me too," he admitted. "But, okay, let's do this. For the baby." Relief softened his features. "Thank you." They met that night at a quiet family restaurant Alexander knew from his childhood, a warm place with homemade bread and kind owners who called him Alex and treated Elena like she belonged. They talked honestly, about boundaries, about trust, about building slowly, day by day. He told her he'd already ended the engagement. Victoria had been angry at first, then quietly relieved. They'd both been trapped. Weeks later, after quiet legal steps and a simple courthouse ceremony with just Elena's mother and Alexander's closest aunt as witnesses, Elena became Elena Harrington. The media discovered them eventually. Photos appeared, rumors flew, but Alexander shielded her, spoke calmly to the press about choosing love over expectation. A man from Elena's past surfaced, the one-night father, suddenly interested when money was involved. Alexander's lawyers handled it gently but firmly. The claim was dropped. The past stayed in the past. Months passed in a gentle rhythm. Doctor visits, late-night talks, laughter over baby names. Alexander reading parenting books with the same focus he gave to business deals. Elena watching him assemble a crib one quiet afternoon, his sleeves rolled up, determination in his eyes. "You'll be a wonderful father," she told him. He looked up, vulnerable. "I hope so." One spring morning, their daughter arrived, tiny, perfect, with Alexander's dark hair and Elena's gentle smile. They named her Grace. As Alexander held her for the first time, tears falling silently, he whispered, "Thank you for letting me choose this, choose you both." Elena touched his hand. "We chose you too." In the quiet of the hospital room, two people who had started as strangers, bound by a mistaken message and a leap of faith, looked at the little life they'd promised to protect. Sometimes, the greatest gifts come in the most unexpected moments: a wrong text, a kind heart, a choice to love anyway. And in choosing each other, they found the family neither had dared to dream of. Sometimes, the truest love begins not with fireworks, but with quiet courage and a heart willing to say yes when the world says it's impossible. Share this story if it warmed your soul today.